Cool. So this is the Habitat public issue triage for the week of January 24th. I've actually posted in chat and will post again because I'm not totally sure about the persistence of the chat for people who are joining late. There's the link to the open issues. That's the query that we use to sift and sort through what we've got that has not actually been triaged yet. And I'll go ahead and share that on my screen if I can figure out how. One second here. All right. Cool. Okay, can everybody see that all right? All right, awesome. Yeah, let's see. Great, so we'll just pick up where we left off last week. We're still getting through the issues that we have remaining. The query is pretty much just checking for open issues, sorting for the last updated. And I think the general idea here is that we are looking for any that are not already in a milestone. So we'll just start with number 1194. I'll give everybody a second to read that. Looks like that'll be an easy close. Oh, we've actually already put this in a milestone, so perhaps I have the wrong query here. Let's see, 1 second. Yeah, that's the wrong query. Here's the right query. There we go. So you want updated in ascending order and no milestone. So here we go.
Can you post that in chat as well?
Yeah, let me do that. All right, perfect. So give everybody a second to read that. We're looking at number 1312. So is this, do we know whether or not this is actually still an issue? I don't know if you have any insight on that, Salim. I guess we can always pull the code up and look.
No, I don't. It seems like it will open in September, so it's probably worth maybe checking to see if it is an issue. It might have gotten fixed. We made so many changes.
Yeah. If it's, so my inclination is if it's something that we haven't fixed yet, I guess Julian's comment at the bottom is probably the thing that we want to discuss the most, which is whether or not we want to fail starting a package in the second situation that Nathan talks about, or just fall back to starting as the current user. Yeah, I'm not certain if that's actually still an issue. Let's see. I wonder if I can. Test that out really quick. Actually, probably what we should do is I'm going to pull this open in another tab. Let's go ahead and move through the next issue, and I'll keep this one open, and I'll come back to it to test to see whether or not that's still a bug. If it is still a bug, I would assume that it's something that we are in fact going to accept, because it's not exactly a feature. It seems like behavior that we probably want to define.
Right, that makes sense.
This here actually is what we want to look at, source util users. So that's not in core. Would that be under common maybe? Nope.
By the way, how many people are actually hitting this? Is anybody from the community on the call? Like, have we heard feedback?
So
your documentation thing.
Yeah, we were doing this before. We were doing this on Zoom. Ideally, what we're going to do is we've actually got an account that we don't have access to yet that'll allow us to kind of set these up on a schedule, a regular cadence, and share it out. Community members have been joining, not 100% of the time, but there definitely have been. And either way, even if they don't, ideally what we'd like to do is to be able to be capturing these and storing them somewhere where people can watch them, just in case they've got issues that they're worried about. The other side of it is, even if we don't have users that are coming and watching, we still want to dedicate time to doing this every week, just to make sure that like some of our development practices and the things that we're doing are exposed to the community, even if that's something that's going to be experienced retroactively, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, that makes sense. I just wasn't sure if there was anybody from the community joining the call, and if we had an opportunity to get feedback from people on these issues. I think that would definitely should be part of the agenda, and help us move these issues forward more quickly.
Yep. Yeah, we have had a few, and hopefully that will continue. What we probably need to be doing is, well, once we've got all of the kinks worked out. We have had a few. Once we've got all the kinks worked out with whatever system we're going to use to do these, which will probably continue to be the Hangouts Live or whatever. Hopefully, we'll be able to get that booked in the calendar that is linked to Slack and everything, so that people can join by video again. Right now they can, but they need the actual URL, so people can watch via YouTube, but that's not 100% useful to everybody, right?
Okay.
All right. I'm not sure where in our source code we handle the user stuff. I thought it would have been under the supervisor.
No, I think you're looking maybe for components have. Yeah, components have source.
Components have source? Oh,
Yeah.
I thought it was there, but I didn't see a
Have source command. There's a command line interface there. It's
Yep. So this is moved from when this PR was written then?
it's possible.
Because it looks like the error message here. I guess that's what we really want to find. We can see if we've changed how we're handling that. Here we go. So it is under component soup source util users.
I don't see this particular error message though.
It looks like I'll post the link here. It looks like it's line 41. Of that link there. It does not look like we have any kind of handling around that other than erroring out.
It tries to find the user, get the UID. If it doesn't, it just returns an error.
Yep. Yeah, okay. So we check service user and service group here. And we error if the user account that's defined in that value is not available. But then it looks like we also check current. We also set up the current user in group and then check to see if you have root permissions that way. But we don't do any kind of creation or error handling around that, right? Yeah. So it's still, this is unresolved. I'm inclined to add this to accepted minor, because I think that we probably need to have some kind of explicit definition around how we want to handle this bug. Do you have any other thoughts on that, Salim?
Well, I'm looking at the function that's actually calling it, and if it doesn't, I guess it tries to find the user and group, and if it does, then it just accepts that. But if it doesn't, it looks like there's some default processing, get default user and group.
Yeah. I see the, oh, here you go. Yeah, you're right. So running with default. So default in our case, I think is have, but get default user and group. Oh, okay. checks to see if hab exists. If not, falls back to current user and group. If that fails, then return an error. Okay, so this should be resolved then.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, it may be we'll have to. Although I see get default user and group, it's got another debug statement where hab user hab does not exist, and then I guess it does. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It might be resolved.
So probably what we should do is I'll leave a comment that says that we think that this has been resolved, and then we'll ask. We'll try to get that verified for now. So let me go ahead and update that.
Yeah, let's just take that as an action item. I don't think we need to verify all of these in this call right now.
Try and mute my mic while I type this because it's my keyboard's loud. 1 second.
Sure, no problem.
Cool. So let's go on to the next one. All right, let's see what we've got here. Okay. I feel like this is one that we've talked about internally. Maybe not this exact PR, but I feel like we've talked about this issue. I'm not certain what my opinion on it is. It looks like Julian had updated the title in October.
It's not super clear what the user is trying to do. I don't understand. There's a part that says if there's no file in the config, then the run hook is not updated.
Right.
If the idea is that we're going to get the dynamic config, then wouldn't we expect there to be actually a config file present? Or is he saying, well, if the config file is present and it changes, then the run hook should update with the new configuration on the next run.
I think that's
what they're trying to do. That first paragraph doesn't really.
Yeah, it's confusing. I think that it is the second thing that you were saying there, which is being able to repopulate, like rebuild the hook with content based on what's changing in the config. But at that point, I'm a little bit confused because that's kind of the way that it works, right?
Well, it should. And maybe there's a bug somewhere. I don't know the specifics of this in detail at the moment, but this has been open since August. So I don't. I guess Julian said it's a feature, not a bug. So maybe there's more. Maybe this is not really working that way at the moment, and so there needs to be some feature work to make it work that way.
Yeah. So I think that this second sentence in the first paragraph is the real thing that this individual is getting at, which is if there's no file under the config directory, then the run hook doesn't get updated and the package is not restarted.
So
but I don't think that's how that works.
Right. So that seems like a edge case to me, right? So under most circumstances, you put in a config file with values, and then things should work. But if there's no config, there's no config files, then it doesn't get updated, which
right
kind of makes sense to me.
And the other thing is that it's not necessarily that like you don't necessarily have to have any kind of files in the config directory. So long as you've got a default TOML, you can still specify dynamic content for your run hooks. Is done here. So perhaps it's just that, so I think that maybe this may just be an issue of clarification from them. So I'll go ahead and leave a comment that asks for some clarification on it. And we can add it into, well, yeah, here, give me just 1 second.
The other thing is the workaround seems like it could be fairly straightforward if they're running into this case. So this might be something that also maybe gets documented until it's resolved.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll add that as well. Okay, wait a second. I think I understand now. I think I understand what they're asking for now. So the issue is not that he can't populate values into his run hook. Um, it seems like the issue is he needs. He's trying to so okay. So if you have a package that exists in a ring, in order to have your package update and have your service restarted, do we actually have an obligation to have a templated config file? I think that we might actually. Seems like that might actually be true because we don't fire off a reconfigure or restart the run hook unless the configuration gets updated, right? So if you don't have a templated config file, and you do, and your service, you have no way to basically restart the service if you don't actually need a templated config file. So I think this is a legitimate feature request. So the question is whether or not, and maybe Tasha, maybe you can speak to this. I'm not certain if it makes sense for us to take this on as a feature, or if this is something that we should ask the community to help with. It seems like pretty low level.
Well, I think again it would be. Well, I think Tasha is definitely a good person to comment on the prioritization of the feature, but I think it would be helpful to have some sort of insight into how many people are actually hitting this. There is a straightforward workaround. Most of the examples do show how do you set up a config file. So, and it's been open since August. My guess is that there's probably other higher priority items to get to before we get to this, but you know.
Yeah. So I think what we should do, unless, and I don't know if Tasha has her mic on, she did join us, but I think we should probably do is I should update it, and my feeling is that for now, maybe we'll put it in help wanted. We can revisit it later on if it's not something that's high on the priority list, because it does seem like kind of a case that may not pop up all that much.
That seems a reasonable approach.
Okay. All right. Give me 1 second and I will add a comment. Sweet. Some good ones today. That's great. Go ahead and refresh. All right, so moving on to 864. All right. So this is very old, and the gossip has been rewritten since it was open. And we haven't had an update on it since October. And it looks like it's something specifically related to the Habitat base image that we're using in Docker. So I'm gonna go ahead and read through it, and I'll give you all a second to do the same. Actually, I think that this is resolved. Because I do this today with my Docker configs. Now, I haven't tested it with multiple NICs on those containers, so we'll probably still want to look at that.
Yeah, my guess is, we've since this is pre-butterfly gossip, that this indeed is resolved. The new supervisor has been extremely stable internally, so I think it's probably worth either sending this back for some feedback on the new supervisor, or just trying it internally and seeing what happens.
Yeah. Yep. I think so. So we've got steps to reproduce. We could totally test this out. Other people have had this problem as well. Yeah, I wonder. So let me see if I can actually do this really quick. If we can reproduce it, since we have very easy steps to doing so. We can probably change this to All right. Yeah. It does seem like maybe this is still a problem. But we'll probably have to address it differently. Because when this was written, oh, you know what? Actually, one second. Yeah, one second here. Okay, so it does seem like this might actually be resolved. Run one more quick test. Yeah, so they're definitely gossiping, and I'm not getting the errors that we were seeing here before. But I'm also testing with a different piece of software. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so I'm testing this with Redis, and it does appear that I'm not seeing the issue of losing losing quorum or anything.
Seems promising.
What's that?
It seems promising.
Yeah. Yeah, they've got, it seems okay. But again, I'm not trying it with the same piece of software. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to update this as well to include a note that says that we just tested this with Redis and it seems like this might be resolved, and to have the individuals check again. Give me 1 second. Sweet. All right. So we got 9 minutes. Let's see if we can get through one more. All right. So it's a pretty straightforward issue. In this case, being able to execute the run hook from a dependent plan. Yeah, I don't think that this is the right direction for this. I don't know if you have an opinion on it, Salim. I feel like that will cause way more problems than it might be worth. Right now, I mean, it's still shell under the hood, and you still have access to all of the quality of life stuff. So you could theoretically just execute the run hook. It is a shell script, right, from a dependent package in your own run hook. It's just I don't think it's 12-factor friendly, sort of like Ben has said.
Well, I think this is probably a real need, because as people write more packages that depend on other things, they don't want to have to duplicate parts of the configuration or the runtime that has already out there, and so they'll I know we've run into this before as well, but so it's really kind of how if you're subclassing off a certain package, how do you kind of use that facility that's already available in kind of your superclass. How to do it is a question. There's a workaround mentioned here. You can copy things around. My guess is that this is a feature. This is probably a big feature, and we need more discussion before we nail down exactly how we might be able to get this functionality. But I think this what the ask is kind of makes sense. Okay, we lost Ian.